you said that you started off doing hair, and then I'm assuming you got into real estate next.
Right. So I failed my real estate exam 6 times.
Wow.
And I'm just not a good test taker. I'm like a visual learner. I watch and I like process. So I just would study, and I felt like I was reading Chinese the whole time.
Right.
So, and I don't speak Chinese, so that's a problem. But then I finally like got it. I got my Massachusetts real estate license, and then I got my Connecticut real estate license because they're reciprocal states. And then, I moved down to Florida, not planned. Like my Florida move was not planned at all. And I came down here because I wanted to be drunk on the beach for my birthday. And I was recently out of a marriage, and then I just was like, I don't want to leave. And so then I had to get my real estate license down here. I get my cosmetology license down here. I remember taking the cosmetology exam, and I hadn't taken it since I was 16. And I was like, oh my God, they're still talking about like pin curls, finger waves, and perms in the test. And it's like 20 years later. And I was saying that 20 years ago. So I was like, oh my God. But you know, you are a chameleon, you adapt to the situation around you. And yeah.
So since you were already doing these 2 like careers that take a lot of your time and energy, what made you decide to say, hey, I want to start an OnlyFans too?
So when I moved down here, I'll never forget it. I was walking down the street and into a CVS, and this guy who was a photographer, he like, you know, was like kind of chasing me, and he was like, oh my God, do you model? And I was like, no. Like, I mean, I had a little bit in Massachusetts, but the photographer selection was like, you know, few and far between. So basically he came to me and he was like, you have such like a mysterious look, like with the tattoos, but you wear glasses, like it's not typical South Florida.
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay, you know, I'm a little bit introverted in real life, like, you know, and so I ended up being like, all right, whatever, I'll do a shoot. I've shot before. So he was just hyped me up, and I just was like, wow. So then, you know, I started my social media with like Instagram and everything, and then COVID happened, and that was like such a game changer for me. So, you know, doing hair in real estate was like not happening for 4 months down here because we were in lockdown. And so at that point I was like, all right, I was doing shoots, like thank God, like, you know, you'd group up with the photographers and stuff like that. But then it got to the point where, you know, OnlyFans had always been on my mind, and I just really had never like kind of like explored the avenue. And so I was just like, I'm halfway there. So, and to be honest, like I really just felt like it's in me. Why not? You know, if I'm already giving the world everything else, you know, I want to just kind of really, I'm just very in tune with my sexual self, with myself as a woman. So I just felt like, you know, you need to embrace this. And it was a great, you know, opportunity to, you know, grow financially with COVID when I had nothing else. And when I started it, I was just like, wow, I actually really like this, and it's so fun, and there's so many people to meet, and, you know, just endless opportunities. And, you know, you really just I feel like I really learned to love myself wholeheartedly when I made that decision, because it's like a big, you know, kind of like step to take.
Of course. And to kind of piggyback off of what you said earlier, you aren't in your 20s to be called a babe, and you're not a mom to be called a MILF. So you also give, in my opinion, light to people who are, you know, in the same situation as you, who've always thought like, hey, maybe I could do something like that, but maybe I'm too old, or, you know, I'm not old enough, or I'm I'm not young enough. So you're right in the middle where you can be that person to, you know, others too who work 2 other jobs. And you know, I mean, you know what, and my like philosophy, not like just my mindset, I vibrate on a different frequency. I take pride in it. I don't expect a lot of people to understand me. I'm okay with it. Everyone is who they are, and, you know, who am I to judge? But I really just, society kind of makes it to be like, this is how you should be. They make it so, and I say they, like, who knows who they is, but like, it's just to stay right above water. But like, I know I'm on this earth for a reason, and like,
to help people, but also just to be who I am and be as true to myself as possible, because people just naturally will pick up on that, and it inspires them to be, you know, more independent, or more like, you know what, I'm going to take this risk and stuff like that. So for me, that's like the greatest reward, and I've experienced that on so like in every level of like any career that I've done. You know, and at 36, I take pride in my age, and you know, I feel like unless, you know, if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. So it is what it is, and it's just not for everyone, but it's for a lot more people than it is for not people, you know. So,
and there's so many people out there who want that confidence, you know, who don't think that they have enough time to do something like that, but have always wanted to. And I think that you're a really good example of you can do, you know, basically as many things as you want and be successful in all of them.
For sure. Like, you know, time is something we're on borrowed time. Like, we can't get it back. So every second counts. Literally, I know I'm like the queen of like saying these like, you know, crazy like metaphors and like, you know, sayings and stuff like that, like meme queen. But you know, it's just, you cut your skin and my skin, we all bleed the same color blood, which makes, like, why are you any different than I am? Like, I wish I blood sparkled blood, but not yet. I mean, like, I'm sure they'll have it before I'm out of this world, but right now, like, I just, you know, I just want to, like, put out, like, good energy. I want to be hot while I'm doing it, and, you know, just make everyone feel good while I still feel good, you know?